Hey guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanee Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson.
Hi.
So, guys, I think that y'all know what I've been playing, but what have y'all been mainly playing?
Dude, I feel like I don't play video games anymore. like which is crazy because I've played probably like a good 10 hours of video games this week, you know? But like just Dead Space, that's all.
That's fine.
I finished it. Now I'm doing the plasma cutter run and I'm most of the way done with that. That's it.
Nice.
Just Dead Space.
What about you, Ryan?
Yeah. So, I played 2 games mostly. The first of which was Wanted Dead. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
Only from what you've talked about it. I've heard like it's kind of mediocre.
Mediocre is a good word for it.
Yeah.
If you're being generous. I think that so for those who don't know, it's a action hack and slash game by a lot of the people who had worked on the more modern iterations of Ninja Gaiden, and it's supposed to be some kind of like love letter to the 6th generation of consoles back when this kind of game was like really hot. The only thing about it is that it doesn't seem to remember what any of those games did right, and and most times it's kind of hard to play, just because like so the basic combat loop is that like you're supposed to be alternating between third person shooting and melee combos, which in theory sounds really fucking cool. And you have
Evil West.
Yeah, well, you have
Or
this
Space Hulk.
you have this thing where basically when you're doing melee, you have your katana and you have your handgun, and the whole idea is you're mixing, like, you have the handgun is mapped to one button and the katana is mapped to another, and you kind of mix those both into like different combos. And when on one hand, when like the action is like really like when it clicks, it's like it's really fucking cool. Only problem with that is it's not often that happens, and the game is it's really difficult, and which is fine, except sometimes, being me, I have to do each section like 5 or 6 times. That's just where I'm at. That's my baseline, is like 5 or 6 times, which again is fine, except that uh more than a few times when I cleared a section, when I finally cleared a section, it was bugged and I couldn't proceed. So I had to do the section over, and it really soured my feelings about it.
You're saying you're
Okay.
repeating it 5 or 6 times. Do you think it's because that there's something you're not grasping, or do you completely understand it and you're still having trouble?
I think that I completely understand it. It's just that I'm not. That's just where my skill level's at.
Yeah.
I think that's just
Yeah.
and again, like, I think that that kind of game can be really fun. Like, I've always had fun with those Ninja Gaiden games, and like those were like brutally difficult. But like, there's just a lot about this is like inputs not registering, or like I said, like the bugged levels, and it's just kind of just soured my experience with it. Um, but like, I think that there are some things to like there. I just I think it could have used a little bit more polish, honestly.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've been playing Wild Hearts,
Mm.
which is
It's Monster Hunter Fortnite, right?
yes, that is
Yeah.
a great elevator pitch for it.
Yeah.
So Koei Tecmo made this one, and they have I'm familiar with their work in this genre through their Tokiden series. And I feel like they kind of really, actually refine that in this game. The building is, like Tom said, is very Fortnite-esque. But it's really intuitive, and it's really easy to kind of like figure out how to implement that in the middle of fights. Like
Mhm.
like I one of the a lot of the trailers showed that you could like build this wall that pops up and like you could stop a charging monster, which is really cool. And you have other things like you can build this like giant mallet that'll like like it's like spring loaded and it'll like come back and like hit the monster on the head and stuff. And it's just it's a really neat game. I've been having a ton of fun with it. From what I understand, it's a little light on the number of monsters. I think it only has like 10 monsters right now. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
also, like at least from what I've seen, they all just kind of look like mossy mammals. You know?
So mostly that is the case. There's one that is a lava rock gorilla, which
Okay. No
but
moss.
no moss that I can that no moss to speak of.
Okay.
There's actually one that was like a really giant rooster, which is kind of cool. I hate that guy, but it's neat. Um, there are about 9 different weapons in the game, and it's really fun. It's been fun experimenting with all of them. Overall, I think it's a really neat game. I don't I don't know that I've ever really played anything in the genre outside of like Monster Hunter and maybe some God Eater and a little and like some Tokiden, but like this is actually a really fun game. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think that the only thing that's kind of been bothering me is the multiplayer implementation is a little like I was playing with some friends the other night and it took us like 20 minutes to figure out how to get into each other's game.
Hmm.
So but other than that, it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking
One thing that I
forward to it.
was told about the multiplayer in that game is that like if I join your game
Mm-hmm.
and I build a bunch of shit, like
Mhm.
it stays there, like it stays in your game, and I think that's pretty neat.
So it's really cool when like people are building stuff that like that you can make use of and it like aid you in your hunts, like the zip lines that go like almost clear across the map and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
sometimes you'll do hunts where it'll take you to the instant like someone else's instance of their world.
yeah.
Like there's these like one-off hunts that like whenever you're in town, like a visitor, which is like basically like another player will like show up in your town and be like, hey, hunt this monster for a reward. And so you'll go to their instance of the world and you'll see all the shit that they built.
It's
Um,
just it's funny because like I've heard now two different people refer to it as like a strand game. You remember how like Kojima wanted to
Mhm.
create his own strand genre, you know?
Mhm.
Like I've heard two separate outlets refer to it as such because of that, and I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, the functionality is there, right? In both instances, people put shit there, and you're making use of it.
Right.
But yeah, very neat game. I am so far I have not been disappointed. I've been looking forward to this game since I found out about it a few months ago. And
Do you think Monster Hunter fans will be accepting of it because like they seem to push away anything else that's not Monster Hunter in the genre?
Monster Hunter fans are weird in that like Monster Hunter fans hate hate other Monster Hunter games. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like Monster Hunter World came out and people were like, "This game is too accessible and it gives you too much information. I hate that." And I think that Wild Hearts is kind of along the same vein in that it does kind of tell you how to play the game and it does give you information that would help you. But I also think that like there are people who like me, who like really like Monster Hunter, but also wish that Monster Hunter did a few things differently. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that in a lot of the places that I wish Monster Hunter would do things differently, like this game does those things.
Mm.
But I do think that like hardcore, like all the Monster Hunter fans who hate Monster Hunter World would not like this game, basically.
Yeah. Well, you know, like it's like you're talking about like God Eater and Tokiden and like Freedom Wars and like all those games. Like the Monster community as a whole does not seem to latch on to any of those. You
Yeah,
know.
I don't know what it is because like I think that like I've I've been playing Monster Hunter for a long time. And one thing I know about Monster Hunter is that it introduces like a couple like new mechanics here and there throughout the series, but by and large, like that experience has like remains like pretty consistent. And
Yeah.
I think maybe that's what they like about it. I don't know, but like I'm always interested in new games in this genre because I like the genre a lot. I'm just glad that I have more than one game in that genre to play at this
Right.
point. So
Uh, yeah. I mean,
Huh?
gatekeeping gatekeeping's not like a good thing. I'm glad you're finding like something new that you like.
yeah,
As a surprise to nobody, now that I have a copy of Hogwarts Legacy, that's all I've been playing. Have
How are you
not
feeling
played.
about it? Last time we talked about it, you'd only played a few hours.
yeah,
So, um, I as far as like the actual game itself, like the game itself, like as far as like playing it and stuff, I actually really like. It feels like the world. Like I think I said before, the world feels pretty magical. There's like they add a lot of things that are like yeah, some of it's repeating, but they add a lot of things still like here and there that you interact with in a way that's just like it doesn't do anything with the gameplay. You don't get any coins or collectibles out of it. It just is like oh, you're interacting with the magical world, and it's still like that. As far as the story goes, it's just like another like you have a special power, like chosen one story, which is like fine because like you got to have some sort of vehicle to drive the plot and about why you're as a like a 15-year-old are doing stuff when there's adults around. Um I'm just it's just what it is.
I mean, they could have let you just be an adult, you know, that would have been okay.
like why is
Yeah,
that? Why does
but adults don't go to Hogwarts. It's for
There's
children.
adults there.
Yeah, as teachers, but if you're like going to school to learn, you're a student and you're going to be a child. They don't allow like a 35-year-old to hang out with 13-year-olds learning about plants, unfortunately.
I guess what Tom is saying, like, why can't an adult wizard handle whatever problems you're tackling?
Right.
Well, so
Like, what if Hogwarts had its own Batman, you know?
Yeah.
um so all the adults that could do what you are do like what you're able to do are dead.
Okay.
So you're
And
actually
how are
getting
they teaching you?
so as so you have like spoilers for a bit. Like I'm gonna try and be as high level as possible, but like so you can see a certain type of magic that nobody else can.
Of
And
course.
there's only like a select few people in history that have been able to. They have like their own secret name for what they are.
Hmm.
Um and so you stumble upon this like while a teacher's coming to pick you up because you've never gone to Hogwarts before, even though you're 15, like a teacher comes picks you up, like you'll go in the very beginning of the game, like you go and you like end up in these like ruins and like there's stuff that like you can see that they can't. And so just kind of and then you just like as you go through you like in Harry Potter, the portraits are like an impression of that person. Like they have that person's like memories and likeness of when that portrait was painted and they can move around and you can talk to them. So you come across somebody who like actually and so you also like they have like these like memory things called pensives. So like in the first one you just like see the memory, but like eventually you'll like some of the people that you see in the memory, like you'll run into their portraits.
Are you talking
So
about like an actual portrait, like Vigo?
yeah, like a like what I like a kind of like what I have behind me,
Okay.
like it's a
Yeah.
painting. It's like
Yeah. Right.
yeah. So you're getting taught how to
What?
do
Right.
I'm just because that's just he's why Vigo specifically? Why is that your
That's the.
go-to
Can
example?
you name another sentient portrait?
I suppose not.
Well, there you go.
I knew what he meant. We're fine. Uh, anyways, so like that's how you're getting taught, like kind of taught and learning about this like power that you have that nobody else has. So you do have like, but you also still need to be taught like regular wizard things. So you do go to school and like you have like your classes that you have to go to, but you also like have these quests where you'll come across like either memories or portraits of people who like or Vigos of people that like
Here's
they can like
Vigo.
help you.
Oh my
uh
god. But like, okay,
But yeah,
but like,
so as far
go
as
ahead.
like all that goes, like great. I do have like a couple complaints with the game.
Sure.
Um,
Can I
one,
guess one of them?
yeah, because I put in a yeah. Go ahead.
Is it button mapping?
Yeah. What do you think of my episode idea?
Yeah.
So, well, there's just one particular portion of the game where the button mapping is particularly atrocious.
And it won't let you change it.
No, because it's like so it's not button mapping as far as the controls and the gameplay goes. It's the button mapping for when you're in the settings screen.
Oh, weird.
So like, I'll talk about it now. Yes. So there's fast travel in the game, which is fucking good. But there's two ways to get to the map, and the way they did the map system is like there is the world map, there is like the town that's next to Hogwarts that called Hogsmeade, and then there's Hogwarts. And so there's the three big maps. And only Hogwarts when you like
Wait. The town next to it is called what now?
Hogsmeade.
And Hogwarts is a town or is just the school?
Hogwarts is the school. The town next to the school is Hogsmeade.
Okay. Well, and what town is the school in?
The school is its own sentient castle.
Okay. So it's not like there's no geographical title for it. It's just
No. It's like
It's a city state, the city state of Hogwarts.
it's kind of like the Vatican.
okay. I got you.
So I mean, like it's in Scotland, but there's no town. It's just like Hogwarts Castle in Scotland.
I did not know that this was supposed to be in Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The school is in Scotland. Obviously, the kids. Harry's like from like London.
Mm.
Or like close to it, anyways. Anyways. But like so in the world map and the Hogsmeade map, like you just have the quick the quick travel like icons, like markers on the map. But within the Hogwarts map, there's the general section, and then you can go further into and then pick the particular icon. So it'll be like the South Wing, the Astronomy Tower, like just sections of the castle, and then like the markers. For everything else, like where the buttons that you can use to travel and the button you can use to like mark it as a waypoint. So if you want to like hit something up while you're on a quest, like you'll still have your main marker, but you can do your second one. So like the X on the PS5, the X button is the waypoint marker, and then the square is the travel. But you can also like select the markers in Hogwarts through like on the left-hand screen, and that you can press X or square, and there's no like way marker on that section. And then so I have this problem because you start off in just Hogwarts, and then later you're able to like travel more areas.
Right.
So I got used to pressing X on the left-hand side, and so I keep pressing X to set a
On the wrong
waypoint
part.
when I'm trying to travel, and a couple times doing that in quick succession has crashed my game.
Yikes!
Oh man.
So like I'm still trying to like don't ever press X to travel, just keep pressing square, and then but it's like it's way faster when you're in Hogwarts to use the left-hand side, like whereas like a list of all the places than to go to the marker, then go to the sub icon. And so it's like it's a bit annoying. There's like two ways. There's like a different rule for fast travel inside of Hogwarts than there is anywhere else in this game.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying. And I can't.
Have you looked at the patch notes for Xbox or PC? Because like I know that they got a patch before PlayStation is receiving that patch.
Well, the PlayStation's already gotten that patch because I downloaded it last night or the night before.
Yeah. But it didn't fix anything.
But but the thing is, once I figured out that's what was crashing my game, I just have to be very
mindful.
Mindful and that's really annoying to have to be so like conscientious when you're playing a game about what you're doing so you don't crash your game. And then also
for sure.
It makes me like save a bunch. So I have once I figured out what was causing it, it's really frustrating. It's my least favorite part of the game is the fast travel inconsistencies between Hogwarts and every other fucking place in this game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ryan, can I ask you, while we're on the topic of bugs, and you were playing Dead Space as well, have you run into the thing where, like, you go to continue your game and the camera won't move? Like, you can move Isaac, but the camera is locked?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
It happens to me literally every single time.
oh, that's annoying.
Like, since
So
launch, every time. So then, to fix it, I have to actually go manually load my save file.
instead of hitting continue.
Right.
Shanae, that bug you were talking about, it reminded me of this one that I would run into in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and also more in Mortals Phoenix Rising. Is like, these are in both games. They have this thing where on the map you can see where other players have taken screenshots, and you're supposed to be able to hover over that screenshot and see the picture that they took. But in both of those games, every time I did that, it would crash the game.
Hey, here's where you go to crash.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to quick leave your game? We got a solution
And it
for
was
you.
shitty because like I would be trying to like make a waypoint somewhere on the map, and my cursor would like brush over one of those screenshots and crash the game.
Yeah.
The
Also,
worst.
like, so I've had a couple other bugs that are not like as super prevalent. I need to check since the patch notes. I haven't been able to play much today, so I don't remember. But at least I don't think so. But like I've been playing other games. Berto's been playing other games. But in Harry Potter, on certain menus, there's two menus I've noticed it. The left analog is drifting, like
Mhm.
the marker is. But I'm like, I know that can't be what it is because like it doesn't do it besides these two places in any
Right.
other time.
That happens to me in
Uh,
Control.
it's
I don't
really
know what it is.
but luckily, like both are just like areas where I'm changing either my appearance
Mhm.
or it's just like looking at what ingredients I have. So it's not that big of a deal, and it's not something I do like all the time necessarily either. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that one's not nearly as annoying or frustrating as the fast travel, and it never makes my game crash. There's been like a couple instances here and there, which is like common for all games where, like, at least for me, because I'm just like fucking around and seeing what I can jump on and what I can and can't do in games. Where like I'll get stuck in the wall for a second, and I'm just like trying to move in all directions, press all the buttons to get me unstuck, so I don't have to like close and reopen my game. uh, yeah. So yeah, like I have that, but it's not that big of a deal. As far as like some of the problematic like morality things in the storyline that people are going on, I'm not gonna say they're not there because like people obviously can, you know, feel the way they want whatever about the story. Like we're not like not JK like herself because obviously like I'm not a fan of that person, but like the actual story people are talking about like how super harmful it is to like the main arguments have been is that it's anti-Semitic and that it's like transphobic. And as far as that goes, like I can see why some people might have some problems with it, but like I don't necessarily I'm not part of that group, like, either group, so I can't, like, say that, like,
Sure.
"Oh, it's not prevalent," or anything like that because, like, I'm not sensitive in that way. But as far as, like, what I've seen, I'm not, like I'm not seeing something that I necessarily think is, like, doing a harmful stereotype. Is I don't feel like it, and I don't feel like it's not been, like, the important part of the story or storyline or quest lines that I've been on. So, like I said, maybe because I'm not sensitive, I'm not seeing it, and, like, then I'll just need to educate myself, but as far as it goes, like, it does feel like a lot of these comments that I have seen are just, like, bad faith arguments who have not played it. Um, some of it that I've seen, I can see, like, what they mean, and I can, like, understand it. Not that I necessarily need to, but you know what I mean? Like, as far as, like, that goes, I'm not seeing it, like it doesn't feel like the hater's ball where it's just hate, hate, hate. Like, I have a lot of moments where, like, that's, like I'm just flying around on a broom, enjoying my wizard life and killing some zombies because there's zombies in the game.
Yeah.
So, as far as, like, that goes, I haven't seen anything there where I'm like, "Ugh, I feel, like, uncomfortable in the scene."
I think that I think that I've said this before, and I think that all of us and consume content that is in some way um, hurtful to somebody. And I don't think necessarily that consuming that content means that you align with any sort of harmful ideology. I think that sometimes, you know, we just watch and play and experience things that have some shitty things in them. But I mean, that's just all media, really. Like, look, I'm not gonna
Eh,
be. I would never sit here and say that you have to be vigilant and watch out for everything that could be harmful in a game. I don't necessarily think that's your job. I think that the only thing you can do is just be as mindful as you can, and just acknowledge things when
yeah.
they come up.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference when the fiction involves less than favorable things, because fiction can and often should be about horrible things, right? But like when the people creating the fiction uh, are I think unintentionally putting some stereotypical things in there,
Hmm.
and those are the complaints I've seen both, dealing with race and with trans people in
Yeah,
this game.
yeah, yeah,
I
and
mean, not that it makes it okay or that like this isn't something that exists, but like I don't know, I've heard a lot of like stories about goblins and them being like money hungry and hoarders and like trying to find loopholes and bets and stuff. Besides J.K. Rowling's work, like she's not like I don't feel like she's the first person to like say, "Oh, goblins are like greedy."
Right.
And make these like things that are also aligned with like anti-Semitic like stereotypes. Um, not saying that it's okay that any of it does it.
Yeah, and
I'm just
I've
saying
not
like
seen
it's
any
not
of
like
the anti-Semitic complaints, but I have seen some
I've seen
trans
a lot.
complaints
I've
and some racial, like other, like racial complaints from other communities, dealing with not necessarily the fiction, but like I said, just like unintentional stereotypes, like things I do genuinely think were not meant to hurt anybody.
yeah,
These people just didn't know any better,
yeah.
But
I think in that instance, it just matters. Like, if someone points it out to you, to me, like a lot of the weight is like, how do you respond to someone
right,
pointing that out
like
to you?
what I think about is like Little Devil Inside. When that first trailer came out, that developer got a lot of complaints about like the tribal masks in that game,
Hmm.
and they didn't intentionally put those in there to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that.
Yeah,
But like, if that indie developer, after some complaints online, was willing to go and change that and acknowledge it, I there's little reason that this company shouldn't be able to.
yeah. I've never understood
I
the lack of like flexibility on that, but
Yeah.
also think that there in there's some like arguments to be made like as far as like if they're selling this as like something that is like oh hey like so say if they're gonna say like this is what the culture is like in the United Kingdom like throughout all the like this is how many different diversity we have and like kind of
Hmm.
like saying it's a realistic viewpoint of what the wizard population or the non-wizard population is in real life.
Right.
If they're saying that versus just saying that we have these characters in there, I do think there's also a difference because, like, I know a lot of people lauded, what is it? Oh, Shishu, what is Raya and the Last Dragon? Raya and the Last Dragon, their campaign was that they're like that they, it's based off of real like Southeast Asian like stuff, but they took like 15 countries and like a little bit from each of them. If you're not
Hmm.
representing like one, you're not really representing any of them because they all have, like, distinctive things. But I think that the problem there is instead of like, "Hey, we took inspiration from," rather than, like, they said, like, "Oh, this is, like we based it off of it, it's supposed to be realistic to what that would look like." And
Yeah, but like I feel
I
like
think
you're
there's, like,
fucked
a
either way though. Like
no,
I guess
because
not
people
necessarily.
people love Avatar in the Last Airbender, and it does a lot of different cultures in there. It does like a
Right.
lot of blending of a bunch of East Asian stuff as well as like Inuit and other indigenous people as well.
Sure.
And but they never were like, "Oh, well we based it off these things and this is like it's supposed to be like a Japanese, Chinese, whatever inspired thing." They didn't label places. And I think
Yeah.
beyond already having a good story, like, not saying that it's not supposed to be realistic in any aspect, also, like, lended a lot of, like, goodwill towards, like, the fact that they, like other East Asian inspired stuff, make a monolith of all of Asia that it's, like, the same culture.
Sure. I mean, Harry Potter does that from what I've been told. But, like, you know, I don't know. It's weird, right? I mean, like, I've not seen it, but, like, Black Panther did the same thing with African tribes. It just blended a bunch of them together. Like, none of, like, and people love that movie, right? But, like, and rightfully so from what I've been told, but like I think a lot of, especially in the game space, I think often about Kingdom Come Deliverance, and that developer from the start said that they were trying to make that game as realistic as it could be, and people were not pleased that it was mostly white people in that game. So I feel like you're kind of fucked either way, really. you know
Fair enough on that.
But like when it comes to something like an Avatar or a Harry Potter or a Marvel movie, like I mean, I guess you can take those and try to be as accurate as you can be with such fantastical ideas. But like, if we're gonna have all these crazy magics and monsters and all that, like, why can't we then be more inclusive?
Yes, that has been exactly my argument about almost all fantasy properties I've seen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know necessarily what the include like this because I don't know the things you've seen about Harry Potter Legacy that have been the arguments. So that's also one of the things I'm like, I don't know how to like. I
Sure,
mean, I
sure.
agree with you in your sentiment 100%. In the aspect of Hogwarts Legacy, I don't know because I don't know what like you saw or people's like the arguments have been made. All I've seen is it's like anti-Semitic and it's transphobic. Like
Yeah.
those are the only two things I've really seen as far as that goes. I haven't seen a lot of people. I haven't seen as far as like my algorithm and stuff. People talking about like culture or race besides Jewish.
Yeah.
Shanae, I have a question. Like, what is your primary concern in regards to this stuff? Like, does it like are you worried about some kind of implications that go along with you enjoying this thing, or like what is your main concern with that?
Hmm. It's funny you bring that up, Ryan.
Like,
Like when the game first launched, the first week of the game's launch, I saw an article. I want to say it was from GameSpot. I am not positive though, so don't quote me on that. But I'm sure you could pretty easily search it on Google. And it is like how to hide your trophies and achievements for Hogwarts Legacy.
Dumb. That is dumb.
Yeah,
That is dumb.
yeah,
well,
Um,
as far as my own personal concern, um, so I don't want to unintentionally like consume or I don't want to thoughtlessly consume media that people are find problematic.
okay.
If I wanna b if I because the fact is, like, in certain aspects, like, it doesn't matter what intention is if you are, like, surrounding yourself with, like, problematic content and media because, like, to unless like, because a lot of times then you'll also, like, propagate that to other people in your life, and so,
yeah.
like and you don't know what message people will get from it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I do wanna be mindful if people are saying that something is problematic but, like, I want to consume it for, like, reasons, I try to be thoughtful about, like, "Alright, well, why do I wanna consume it? Why do people say that they have an issue with it?"
Mhm.
And
I think
I'm
the
not
fact that we're having this
and I'm not
conversation is proof that you've been thoughtful about it. The fact that you didn't play it until you could get it used shows that you've been thoughtful about it.
Yeah,
Like
and the thing is, like, I'm not gonna platform it. I'm not gonna, like, stream it as, like, a live stream that I'm playing it.
right,
I'm not, like, I'm not like posting about it on like any social media stuff. I'm not saying that like, oh, everybody should play this game, but
Right.
I'm also yes, I am enjoying my time with it.
So
And I try to keep, but I also try to keep in mind when I'm going through the story about what things that people have said. So when I look at the story, I can have a perspective of it that's outside of my own to see like why people might be saying these things. So
right.
it's just like, so it's like I want to enjoy this content, but I also want to be mindful. So I guess like that's my thing with it. I have seen where like there's a streamer that Berta really likes. I forgot her name, but like she was like in the Ukraine when like majority of the fighting was happening and stuff was going on. She like recently moved to the US and she was playing the game and she made some pretty like people were saying some things to her and she left like a pretty tone deaf comment in response to it. And like Berto and me were talking about it and I was just like, yeah, like I get the point that she was trying to make from her own perspective, but you also are still platforming this game. Like you have like over 100,000 people watching you live play this.
Yeah.
So not that you necessarily have to make a comment on it or anything, but the fact is like you are also like people who are upset about it and are allowed to be upset about it. You are inviting that into your domain. Do they
Hmm.
have the right to tell you to go kill yourself? No.
No.
But do they have the right to tell you that they think that you are supporting a transphobe? Then
Right.
yeah, they
Right.
are. Like that's the thing. I was like, so yes, she is 100% allowed to get hate for this.
Yeah.
But not like doxing or death threats. Like
Well, I mean, this kind of thing happens more and more frequently now, just because we get information much faster than we used to. But
also like
like,
people are more socially aware and asking questions.
right. But like, you know, when I learned what a monster Roman Polanski was, or Kevin Spacey, or whatever, right? Like, I didn't go throw away my copy of Seven or
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby, right? Like,
Right.
but like, I probably won't buy any more of their shit.
Yeah.
But
And the thing is like yeah, like I feel bad that like for all the devs and people who worked on the game who are not transphobes, but like and obviously like I don't think anybody who worked in the game, even though they knew it was like a game that like J.K. Rowling, like it's a Harry Potter game, so J.K. Rowling's going to get money. I don't think that they're awful for making this game. Like it is a job, and like yes, there could be whataboutisms that are made. Like, well, what about like the soldiers who do atrocities? It's just their job, like all whatever. But like
That's called a false equivalency.
yeah, like it's dumb.
Um,
And like and I feel bad that like if they are having any sort of feedback, but yet again, like similar to what I think the person who like streamed on it, if you're gonna make like a public game where your names are in the credits and stuff, like you are opening yourself up to people telling you how they feel. And sometimes it's not gonna be nice, but like yet again, they don't deserve death threats, doxing, harm to the family members. Opinions, yes, everything else, no.
so I'll put it to you like this. So, um, when I think about this sort of thing, I think that from what I understand about Harry Potter, I don't know a lot about Harry Potter, but from what I understand about it, by the way I hear people talk about it, the two things that seem to be the biggest themes throughout the series are be true to yourself and love conquers all. Those are the two messages I've always heard echoed about that series. And I think that if those are the things that you are taking from it, then great. And I think that playing the game doesn't make you any more of an enemy to certain people any more than not playing it makes you an ally to those people. And that I don't think you playing the game is hurting anybody, and I don't think you not playing the game is defending anybody. And I think that you've been plenty mindful about everything that you can as far as this
Huh?
conversation is concerned. You've done everything that you can. You've done a lot of due diligence. You've done a lot of thinking. You've done a lot. Seems like you've had a fair number of conversations about it. Um, and for what it's worth, I don't think you playing this fucking wizard game makes you a shithead. So I mean, I wouldn't worry so much about it. I think you can just play the game, and as long as as long as you are enjoying your time with it, and as long as you are taking things from it that can help you put out, great energy into the world, then I don't see a problem.
If we're being 100% honest, Shanae, I think you're a monster for playing this game.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm. Not, I'm. She's definitely a monster, just not for
I
this.
was gonna say, I was like, I am a terrible piece of garbage, but not for this reason. Plenty of other reasons.
Yeah, like 1,000 other reasons. Just this isn't one. So I have to give credit where it's due.
No, and that was like kind of like that streamer girl that I was talking about. Like, so that's kind of like her thing is like she's like, you know, because she was like seeing neighbors die in the streets and like there's a lot of violence in the area that she's in.
Yeah.
And like there's like the bombing going on and stuff. She's like, I've been in like a war zone. This like I've seen true evil. This game is not true evil. Like but like that was I'm kind of like paraphrasing, but that's basically like her statement on there, which is like I said, it's a bit tone deaf because it's saying that like because I think she's forgetting that there's a lot of people that are her fans and like watching that just like they don't have the same experience. So for them, like JK and her stuff is like true evil. And so it is trivializing things that people are like upset about. I was like, it's a bit tone deaf. I get what she means, and I'm not necessarily like against the statement. But also like the way you went about it is very insensitive.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I mean like it's like kind of similar to what you said, like what you were like saying about like Tommy earlier, but like once you find out these things, like you're not gonna buy more of it. Like I didn't throw away any of my Harry Potter stuff. I just try not to give my money to her anymore. Like Nestle, the Nestle company. I try not to buy their stuff anymore. I later sometimes find out companies that I like are owned by them, and I'm like, well, shit, I gotta change brands.
Dude, I found this comic book that I want to buy. It's Superman meets the Quick Bunny.
Oh, I want please get that. I want to read it so bad. That sounds
I'm sure it's real dumb.
I forgot that they had a bunny.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Well, I hope you get
the Nesquik bunny.
Sure.
He wore that giant Q around his neck like he was some kind of rapper.
He did. I remember that now.
Like he was Flavor Flav.
I remember.
How weird is it? Flavor Flav got it like a dating show. Like
twice.
Yeah. I also like recently.
He's still looking for love, you know?
Yeah. It's hard out there.
Like him, Tila Tequila, and Bret Michaels. Who would ever thought Bret Michaels is the most like normie one of them? The least like.
I mean, he's just some guy, you know.
Oh, just some guy.
Yeah. I mean, he had the song, and then women went wild for it for like 45 years, and then
yeah, just some guy stuff. Decades of success.
Sure. I mean, look at me.
Are you trying to get a dating show, Ryan? Because I don't think KJ would appreciate it.
She's good.
Yeah, but also it is weird that like his like Flavor Flav shows, like the only one that where like the contestants got like any success or fame afterwards. Because there was that one girl Hoops that went on to date Shaq. New York got her own shows and got to be on like other reality shows as well.
Shanae, I don't know anything about what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm way out of my element with this.
I understood Flavor Flav. That's it.
You don't remember like Tila Tequila, Shot at Love, Bret Michaels, Rock
I know
Love?
who that lady is. She's that MySpace lady.
Yeah, she was.
But
MySpace
I don't
famous.
know anything about her.
Oh, well,
or any of these other people you're talking about.
She wants to be the Asian Hitler and in the Zionist regime, and thinks that George W. Bush is a lizard person.
Well, at least we agree on one thing.
Which one, Thomas? Because like, I need to know before if we're going to continue doing this show.
George W.
Oh,
clearly.
Good.
I mean, he has actually been saying that for a while now, so.
All right, sorry. I guess I'm the one who thoughts and feelings on it, but in the show Flavor Flav, or the show Flavor of Love, there's a girl who just shit on the stairs as she walked up, and that will stay with me and forever.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're welcome. I since y'all are, lacking a pop culture knowledge, next time you go to a pub quiz and that question comes up, you'll finally know the answer.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I could have gone the rest of my life without hearing that.
You could have,
But
but you didn't.
yeah,
um, but you did have a topic. Did we want
I
to
did.
discuss that at all?
I did.
Yeah, I'd like to.
I'd like to too, actually, Shanae. Unless you want to talk about Flavor of Love some more.
I mean, I do, but obviously y'all don't.
No.
And y'all have anything to add, so it's just gonna be me going on a soapbox about these 3 shows that apparently shaped me as a person.
It started to
Sure.
become apparent that that's what happened. So,
but yeah, so this week you did want to talk about games that we liked more than we expected. You said like we went into it thinking that we would like the game,
yeah,
but we ended up loving the game.
sure. So I was talking to my wife about this and one of the things she said was, why don't you guys talk about games that you played that like you didn't think you were gonna like, but you ended up liking? And I couldn't think of anything like that because like I've never like sat down to play a game that I didn't think I would like. Like that's just I just never think to do that.
Who would do that? Who would do that?
I'm sure there are.
I mean, I do that.
Yeah, Tom does that. I don't do that just because like I don't get any enjoyment out of that discovery.
Actually, yeah, I know I have definitely done that. Mainly multiplayer games, like people online. I'm like, I don't even want to like this, but like you seem like you really like this, so I'm gonna play it. But I'm not. This isn't my shit.
A lot of the times, what happens is that, well, shouldn't say this happens a lot, but like what usually happens is the reverse with that is that like I think I'm gonna like the game, then I don't like it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get that a lot too. Yeah. We should talk about that next time.
Yeah. Well, it's called Wanted Dead. That's the game that I was very excited about that game, and that game let me down. I felt like I got shot in the dick when I played that game. But no, so I was thinking about this because specifically because of my experience with A Plague Tale: Innocence, which is a game that like I had always had an interest in, and I'd always felt like that would be an interesting game, but I didn't expect to engage with it in the way that I did. I didn't expect to like really care about the characters as much as I did. Sure. And like by the end of the game, like I was like invested in every single one of the protagonist characters. It was like a really cool feeling. Like as I'm playing it, like it felt tense because I actually like cared about these characters, especially my little guy Hugo. He's the best video game child ever, hands down. There's no video game child better than Hugo. Don't even try. But yeah, man, like I felt like what was gonna happen was I would play through it and I would be like, okay, well that's the thing that I experienced. But like I was actually like really invested in the story. And I don't even usually gravitate toward like stealth action games. And because I just don't feel like I really have the patience for them anymore. But like this was one that like I just was like thoroughly engrossing to me. And I just liked it so much more. And like after I finished it, I was like kind of sad that like it was over. I was like, well, I won't get to hang out with them anymore. But then I forgot that there's a sequel out, so I'm good now. But yes, so like
so I don't give a shit anymore.
I mean, but like it was also like stayed with me, right? Like I found myself like thinking about that game after I finished it, just because of like the impact it left on me. Especially with some like the more like the game has a couple of times gives you like a moral choice to make. Like specifically, there's this instance where like I don't know, you guys know about like how like the whole thing with like all the rats and like the rats are deadly, and so you have to avoid the rats.
Willard.
Yeah, it's Willard, but like Willard like left town, so all the rats are doing whatever they want. Actually, I thought of the Rat King from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Actually, that's who I.
Dude, yeah, it needs a Rat King skin.
Yeah,
and Crispin Glover skin.
But so there's this. So if you're not aware, there's this. The whole thing with the rats is that like they're afraid of light. So anytime you hold a torch near them, they'll recede and like you can move through them. And if you don't have one of those, they'll chomp you to death. So there's a section where I'm making my way through this like this kind of like this like tunnel passage, and there's a grate at the end of it, and there's this soldier who is like kind of stuck there and he's trying to get out, and I'm pushing, like I'm moving through with the my torch, and it's moving the rats toward him, and uh so basically I'm just like in this point where like, am I going to like let this guy die so that I can like escape? And right
Yes.
well, almost,
Yes.
but then right before I made the choice to do that, I saw this god, it's like a I don't know what you call it. It's like a sconce, I guess. And like I could light it, and it made all the rats run away. And so both me and the guy, we were able to escape alive. So things like that like really stayed with me. So um but yeah, that was just a game that I really loved. I thought I would like it, and I ended up like just loving that game. Like I cannot stop singing the praises of that game. It's a beautiful, moving, excellent video game. So play till innocence.
I tried it. I couldn't get into it. I gave it a good few hours. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. I could see how it wouldn't be for everybody.
Yeah.
But
I could definitely see the appeal.
yeah.
I like a lot of games that are like that game, you
Mhm.
know. But yeah. I've got two quickies here. One is Splatoon.
Mm-hmm.
I always assumed that I would enjoy Splatoon, you know, but like actually playing Splatoon is weird, right? Because like it's you don't expect there to be a good shooter from Nintendo, right? Like yeah, people can point to like GoldenEye or whatever, but like that's rare. That's not really Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I like the way that Splatoon controls better than I like the way that Call of Duty controls on a controller, right?
Okay.
I think there are a few shooters that control as well as Splatoon does on a controller,
Right.
you know?
And
And we've talked about this on the show before.
not even taking into account like the motion stuff, just, or is that like
Well, I think that's a big part of it. The fact that like I've wanted to see like a comparison for a long time, and I've thought about making the comparison myself. Taking like Splatoon and maybe two other games, right? A normal FPS on a controller
Mhm.
and an FPS on a mouse, and doing like a side by side comparison on movement in those games, as far as like, you know, doing a 180 on a right analog stick versus swiping a mouse versus using the right analog stick and turning the controller. And I bet you, like, Splatoon's controls would be nearly as fast as a
Right.
mouse. You know? Not quite, but probably pretty fucking close. And, like, since Splatoon implemented that, I'm like, why? Why doesn't Doom or Call of Duty or, like, any of these fucking games
Right.
at least give you the option, right? I get why they don't on Xbox, because that option's not there. It's not on those controllers, right? But like on PlayStation or whatever, like you could feasibly do the same thing.
Yeah.
And like,
And that's one of the features that's like most underutilized on that.
yeah. I'm like, just like for that reason alone. I mean, there's plenty of other reasons to like Splatoon. It's a great game.
Yeah.
What maybe the best online community, you know?
Was there a moment for you with Splatoon where like it just like you like again you went into it expecting to like it, but was there a moment where you were just like, okay, I really love this game? Like, was there something that happened or like a feeling that you had?
I mean, it was Splatoon 2 for me. I'd played very little of the first game, but like it was like the day after. I don't know if you guys remember, we did Extra Life here.
Yeah.
At my house, and there was a bunch of people here.
Mm-hmm.
And like the day after that, there was still like a monitor and TV like in my fucking kitchen and living room just hanging out because I was too lazy to pick it up, you know?
Yeah.
So I remember like sitting in my awkwardly tall kitchen chairs at like the bar between my living room and kitchen.
Yeah.
Playing Splatoon on that bar top there. And like, yeah, I just sat there all fucking day in that uncomfortable fucking chair playing that game, you know?
Yeah.
It's just Yeah, and you wouldn't expect it to come from Nintendo. And what's interesting is like I really do feel like Nintendo's younger developers uh, are the ones that are continuing to do interesting things there. You know,
Right.
don't get me wrong, like Sakurai is great and all that, but like he's been doing the same thing for
Yeah.
fucking for forever now. You
Yeah.
know,
25 years of Smash Brothers, baby.
yeah. So it's nice to see them.
Yeah.
You know, do some new stuff. I'm new. Splatoon's fucking old at this point, right? But
Yeah,
like,
but like relatively
really.
speaking.
yeah. Um, and the other one is Metal Gear Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's Metal Gear, so I thought, like, you know, it'll be cool, but then you see it for the first time and you're like, what the fuck is this? You know? But, like, that game's so badass.
Sure.
And, like, as far as character action games go, like, the depth that Rising has is up there with some of the best in the genre.
Is that a
But,
platinum
like,
game?
yeah. But, I mean, Platinum and Kojima Productions, like a joint effort.
Mm-hmm.
But like the depth is there, and it's fucking crazy and nuts because it's Metal Gear, right? But like, my favorite thing about it is its brevity.
Mm-hmm.
Like how short it is means that you can play it front to back in a few hours, and because of that, you can play it over and over and over again and get better and better and better at it. You know?
Yeah.
And I just love that sort of. It reminds me very much of like Resident Evil games, like earlier, shorter Resident Evil games. You know,
Yeah.
obviously they're very, very different, but like, you know, there's not a lot of games that I want to play from start to finish many, many times. You know, but that's
I don't know that life.
well, you play long fucking games over and over again. You know, but like,
Oh yeah.
you know, I like games that you feel like you can perfect, even though clearly there are thousands of people that are way above your skill level, right? Like,
Yeah.
like when you're beating Shadow of the Colossus in 3 hours, you feel like a badass, you know, right?
You
Like,
should.
and like Metal Gear Rising is very much the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's a one thing. Like, every time I play like a character action game, as long as like I can do cooler shit than I did last time, I
Yeah,
feel pretty good. But like, I remember watching a video of Breath of the Wild, and I was like, I saw people doing like the craziest shit I had ever seen,
yeah,
and I'm just like, I don't know how to play that video game apparently because these
right,
people are
right.
insane.
Is this the same one? That's not a
I just
sequel.
remember watching somebody playing Breath of the Wild, and like he didn't like he went up in the air and he didn't come down once in like 30 seconds. And I was just like,
Yeah,
that's cool. So like with Metal Gear Rising, like especially character action games like that, like I always feel like as long as I can do like cooler combos than I did last time, and like have a reason to be like, hey, look at the screen while I do this thing.
yeah, yeah. And
That's
everything looks awesome in that game,
yeah,
right? Like everything you do in that game looks
yeah,
insane. You know?
yeah,
Except for the dying.
Yeah. Well,
I did that.
and,
I
you
did
know
that a
what
lot.
sucks is like they keep Konami keeps tweeting out like, oh, 10 years of Metal Gear Rising. And I'm like, so you gotta re-release it or what's happening here? Like you keep talking about it, but
yeah.
I just want to remind you that it's still a minor. It's only 10
yeah,
years old. uh, so when you propose this topic, the only thing I could think of is actually like same as like games that I didn't think that I would like that I ended up liking is games that were suggested to me. So like Berta was really in Divinity Original Sin 2, and
Hmm.
I was like not I wasn't like I was like I can like it. Like it ticks a lot of boxes that I like. But then ended up liking it so much that like at the same time that me and him are playing together, I'm also restarted my own
yeah.
campaign.
I
See,
remember you talking
Uh
about it for what felt like forever, you know? Like I can
yeah,
always tell when you're really into a game because like you will bring that game up for
all the time.
months, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's what pops in my mind because it's what I like still think about.
Well, it's
And
like Ryan and I always say, like, you go deeper on one
yeah.
single game
I'm
than
actually
we
envious of
almost ever
that
do.
because like I
Yeah.
would save so much more. I would save so much money if I were like Shanee.
Yeah.
I really would.
yeah, because like once I finish the game, I'll start looking at fandom stuff and I'll look at
Yeah,
fan art and see what people like if there's like any behind the scenes stuff. Like, is there stories that the creators have put out to be like companions to the video game itself? And then also I really like seeing what other people took away from the game as well. So then even if I'm not playing it anymore, I'll still be thinking about it because I still like once I get that in your algorithm for any of your like socials, it stays there.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of that happen like as well, where it's not even that I'm necessarily consciously thinking about it. I just have told the internet that I like this, and it's like, oh, here's more of it.
Sure.
Um, and then, I blanked on my. What's the other one? Oh, that's gonna
Was it an Otomi?
no.
Was
Um,
it? Was it an
Was it
RPG?
Fire Emblem?
Was it Fire Emblem?
I guess you could put Fire Emblem.
Because you
Three
fucking
Houses.
fell in love with Fire Emblem.
You love you some
Yeah,
Fire Emblem.
you know, I've always liked the Fire Emblem franchise. In like a general sense, like I've never played any of their games and been like, ugh. I really wish I didn't put like that money, that effort in, or I didn't like finish it to wherever I
Yeah.
felt like it was finished. There's like I can't think of any time where I'm just like I'm done with this. Um, so I guess like you could definitely put Three Houses into that because I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did, but then I was like, oh,
And you
there's
went real hard on it.
Yeah.
there's relationships in this.
Mhm.
Sign me the fuck up. This is my shit.
Shanee likes meddling with relationships.
Mm-hmm. And that one, like, it's not even just like your own. If you get the other people to like have enough thing at the end, you'll hear stories about how they all end. And there's different combos. There's different stories based off who ends with who. Somebody.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that. It gets me. It gets me to replay something, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also just like hate that like feeling of like missing out. Like, and it's funny because in the more like positive spaces I've seen about like Hogwarts Legacy, like people are like, okay, well, like I'm gonna have to play this game 4 times so I can play each route as like each of the different houses to
Sure.
see what
What? Really?
the differences are. Yeah, and
Did
I
Yoko Taro direct this game? Like, what's going on here?
but yeah, so like I was already thinking about possibly doing that because I was like, well, or I could just like I'm not any of their houses. Like I'm Ravenclaw. Like all my shit says Ravenclaw on it. I can't just like turn my back on
Is
the
that like
claws.
White Claws?
It's like
Yes.
Bear Claws.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
I even have like a little it has like a little light up thing, but it even has like my name and like the Ravenclaw symbol. I have sticky notes on my desk that are like the Ravenclaw symbol.
Yeah.
All all third party that have either had to stop making these things due to cease and desist because it will take
Sure.
But
I might get
yeah.
all those things with the Bear Claw logo.
I feel like
Get
Hogwarts
the
is
White Claw.
I feel like Hogwarts is the only school where it's acceptable to wear a sweatshirt of a school you didn't go to. You know what I mean? Like you can't get away with wearing a Harvard shirt because people are like, "You go to Harvard?" You're like, "No." I was like, "Why are you wearing that shirt?"
That's not true.
That's
true
not
at
true,
all.
dude. I see so many people in this city wearing like Longhorn and Aggie shit. You know?
Yeah.
And then also like if like when you're going through like when you're in high school and you're going through all the college recruiters like going on like tours, they'll just give
Yeah.
you like sweatshirts and like water bottles. So if they give
Sure.
you a free nice sweatshirt but you decide not to go to school, you're still gonna wear it.
Because you're
Um,
advertising for them.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
do
but
that. I didn't sell out Shanae, so that's probably
Yeah, I
Wow.
bought in.
Yeah.
if somebody wants to give me a very nice fancy hoodie, as long as it's not like offensive, I'll wear it.
Yeah.
It's not fancy, but it's comfy. Comfy is the word I was looking for. I can get down with a good comfy hoodie. But
Or fancy.
Sure.
or fancy. Because I'm assuming fancy also means it fits well.
Oh. Now I'm just remembering the time you dissed us for how our clothes fit us.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I still stand by that. Oh, you know what? Also, I saw a couple friends like playing Rocket League, and then I got really into Rocket League. I ended up liking that a whole lot more than I thought I was going to. Yeah, like this is the only ones I can really think of besides like now that y'all bring up Fire Emblem, like it's stuff that I've just seen other people play like around me, and I was like, oh, that seems nice, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more often the opposite, where I see something I'm like, man, that, I'm gonna love that, and then I don't.
You're like,
You know.
this is garbage.
No, not necessarily
Just like-
garbage, just
just
not
like
for me. You
Shanee.
know.
Did you say just like Shanae?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
well, that's
But was there any other games that like y'all were thinking of?
Nickelodeon Kart 2.
yep.
Ryan, whenever
Nickelodeon
you're
Kart 2. It's so good.
Ryan. Is your name
What?
Ryan?
Yeah.
Yes. He's allowed to speak for me.
Ryan would like Nickelodeon Kart 2 more than he thinks he would.
Why is that?
It's just
because
a good kart racer, man. There's so
and
many
also he
like
speaks for
generic
you.
ass kart racers, you know?
Yeah.
Like Ryan, you know I played like Garfield Kart and all that, and I played the Hello Kitty one and all that shit, right? And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they're very bland,
What's the
you
Hello
know?
Kitty cart like?
They feel like reskins of the same game, you know?
Yeah.
And
What
like,
is
yes, Nickelodeon Kart 2 and 3 are Mario Kart clones, but like they're really good Mario Kart clones, you know? They're a lot of fun.
Well, if you're saying that that's what I think, then I
Yeah.
agree with you. I like those games too.
Yeah.
So, um,
Like
I,
those Sonic racing games. Pretty good, you know?
dude, like I tried to play because one of them I don't remember which one came
Not
to.
the new one. The new one's bad.
There was one that came to PS Plus like
Yeah,
last year or
not
some
that one.
shit. Yeah, and
No,
I was not into that game.
that one's not good. But the two before that were
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I wanted to like it. I really did, but
Yeah.
but you didn't.
I did not. I would say the other one that I could really think of is Yakuza because I did not expect to like go all in with that fucking
Oh yeah.
franchise, like because like I remember seeing that game on shelves back when it was only on the PS2, and I was like, that seems pretty cool, but I'm just gonna play something else, I guess. And then I finally got into it with Yakuza Zero, and like I played that game, and I was like immediately all in with that because I was like, this seems cool. I'll give it a try. And then like I was immediately all in with Yakuza, and I
Like,
love
all right,
Yakuza so much.
this is my stuff now. I found it.
I can't explain to you like how much I love Yakuza, how much I love Kazuma Kiryu. I love all that stuff. Okay, and if for every Yakuza game that they make, I will buy it. I don't give a shit. I will
Are you
buy it.
caught up on that?
So I still need to finish Yakuza Like a Dragon, but also Like a Dragon Ishin is coming out like this week, and I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm gonna do. There's so much Yakuza.
You
But
played 1 through 6 already?
yep, I played 0 through
Yeah.
6. Yeah, yeah, I played all of them, and I love them. I love them. So
How do you feel about him?
I love them. Okay, so
Okay.
Okay.
yeah. It's about
Um,
friendship and brotherhood and loyalty and strength. Those are cool things, man. So I vibe with it.
I don't really get the Brotherhood, but everything else like I can get behind.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I overestimated the deepness of our bond. Cool. Cool, 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 cool,
Yes, you did.
Mm.
But yeah, I can't think of any other games. Got any before we end the show, Tommy?
You guys know I love Tropical Freeze. And
Yes.
like I like
But not funky mode.
no, I like that too. It's fine, right? It's good to have that there for people like Shanae. But like I like all the Donkey Kong Country games, and like some of them I love. Like 2 is fucking fantastic, you know. So I was like, yeah, and like even Donkey Kong Country Returns, I liked that game, you know. But I fucking love Tropical Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
When did that game come out?
I don't know.
A long time ago, right?
I mean, it was Wii U originally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that the last new Donkey Kong game?
I think so, but I don't know so.
Hmm. I think we're waiting
But
for some DK get us more than bananas.
well, you know, with that Mario movie coming out, I'm sure they'll give us some Seth Rogen Donkey Kong game.
Would you like that?
I'd play it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With him doing that laugh?
sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's
Yeah.
fire up the presses then.
I mean, look, I have to put some faith in the guy, right? Like, he's done some things that I've enjoyed in the past.
Sure.
I love Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
He's directing the new Turtles movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I gotta give him a shot.
I mean,
Yeah,
I feel like
I mean,
he's got
you
a pretty
have
good track
to.
record with me. So
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a Seth Rogen movie that I didn't like personally, but
Sure.
I don't like Knocked Up. That movie, objectively speaking, is kind of mediocre. So either way,
I mean,
It is funny to make a website where you look for all the boobs in movies, though. You know,
yeah.
and it's very funny. Like that's that definitely dates that movie. So
Yeah.
I like that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think the presence of Katherine Heigl also dates that movie.
Sure.
No, I was actually since I was rewatching a lot of like older movies, like I watched like the Ghostbusters, the Robin Hood Men in Tights, Princess Bride, and something else too. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of references that date these movies, but like some of them really pull it off and some have not. Like
Yeah.
especially like if like because it's kind of like reminds me of like in Aladdin where Genie makes a lot of references where like a lot of them you don't have to get that he's trying to be funny. As long as the reference you can get what they're trying to get at. But some of them did not do that. But like Robin Hood Men in Tights definitely holds up.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay. Is Kevin
All right,
Costner going to be in a new Nintendo game or something?
Yeah, it's Super Field of Dreams 64.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
All over you. Anyway. Anyway.
Any closing thoughts, Ryan? Besides, they will come.
Then in that case, no.
All right. Well, that's our show. You can find us on most podcast apps. We're also on the YouTube if you want to look at our faces. We will have a Discord that's linked. And bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.